Okay, so the first one is on a windy day, always kick with the wind. Otherwise, you're playing catch-up all day. So that little bit of thought and sort of saying, we might be able to kick against it and hold up, don't even think about it. Right. It's just too hard to play catch-up. They're in front. You've got to get back to them by half-time. They're in front. When everyone's tired at the end, you've got to try to overrun them. No, you kick with the wind and take what opportunities come. So that's the first golden rule. Pre-game, there should always be 2 sets of instructions straight away pre-game. So you're not sitting there waiting until the toss and then working. You're sitting down with your players and going, okay, this is exactly how we're structuring up if we kick with the breeze. This is exactly how we're structuring up if we kick against the breeze. And obviously we won't know to the last second, so damn pay attention to both because they're both going to look different. And we need to make sure that we've got our instructions absolutely 100% on.
Getting nervous.
Okay, you should always include diagrams of the ground you're playing at, okay, so that you know attacking and defensive corridors and flanks, that you know dead pockets to avoid or where to play into if you're playing one way, rather than some people think differently or take in information differently. I could sit there and speak to people all day long, and it goes in one ear and out the other. But if you've got the diagrams there in your change rooms, you've just drawn them up yourself. This is this particular ground. Every ground has its nuances. The diagram that will be going up is from your old ground, okay, out of Princes Park. So the diagram that we're going to put up is from Princes Park, where you want to attack, the attacking corridor, the dead areas of the ground, how you would come defensively out of those areas. If you're kicking against the breeze, the way that you would work the ground, basically. There were times, there was one kick on Saturday where it was a left footer for North Melbourne, got it, and kicked exactly to the area that you don't want to be kicking the ball into. It was Anderson, Jed Anderson. Reeled around, kicked it. Why are you kicking the ball there? Fortunately enough, 2 against 1, Jack Zeeble got hold of it, the captain of the club, and belted it straight back the other direction, reeled back around and kicked it back the other direction to get the ball back into the kicking against the breeze, the corridor area where they wanted the ball. So there are ways that you've got to play these sort of grounds. So the more that you've got it diagrammed out, the better it is. If it's a big wind, the team kicking against it is better to overreact than to underreact straight away. Okay, what normally happens in a game is the team kicking against it goes, we'll get a feel for the game. You know, everyone's going to be cracking in early. We'll just get a feel for the game, see how we go with the wind. Well, guess what? All of a sudden you're behind. GWS did that last weekend. Okay, they recovered by half-time. No problem whatsoever about that. But they went into that game and didn't have a player back at all. So they played 6-6 and just sort of said, we'll have a crack and see. We might kick a couple into it and off we go. All of a sudden it's gale force. They had 4 goals kicked in 12 minutes going one direction. Then they put 1 extra back. So I'll go again. In a period of time when they had none or then they quickly put 1 back, they had 4 goals kicked against them. And guess what? They put 2 back and there was 1 goal only kicked in the last 8 or 9 minutes of the game when they had 2 back. Too late. Overreact. You can take the 2 and make it 1 if you feel that you've overcompensated, but you're kicking against the breeze. It's only going to happen twice. So make sure you've got it right from the outset. Overreact rather than overcompensate. Overreact rather than underreact. Many times in windy games are won by 1 great offensive or defensive quarter. Okay, so it can happen really quickly as well. So on the weekend, for example, GWS second quarter, no goals in 12 minutes, 3 goals in 3 minutes. Just bang, bang, bang. And all of a sudden they were back in the game again. So therefore, it's more likely than unlikely that one of those 30-minute blocks, which are all separate, right, in those games, normally one of them stuffs you up. It's either stuffed up because you haven't done it well offensively and you've missed your opportunity with the breeze, and so therefore they've had it twice, you've only used it once, probably don't win, or defensively we've really locked them away and we've been able to get a result that way. Quite often that happens in the last quarter, because when it's all tied you can lock it down a little bit. So therefore coaches must react quicker in windy conditions or the game can be over in a blink. So if you think it as a coach, you're coaching normally in windy conditions, if you don't react straight away, The game can be done either offensively or defensively, just in an absolute instant. So it is coaching at its absolute essence on windy days. Into the wind, and these are obvious, but into the wind, possession footy, milk the clock. That's all you're trying to do, is try to wind down the clock as much as what you possibly can. Keep the ball to the boundary, keep it in tight, use it as close and as short as what you possibly can to wind down the clock. With the wind, it's controlled footy. Don't allow the wind to do it for you, because it never works that way. It's controlled use of the ball, not just banging it in. If you bang it in, you're going to get beaten, and it happens time and time and time again. And clearly, any goal against the wind is invaluable. I mean, it is worth 3 on those really windy days. But the diagram part of it is just essential for, particularly in areas where you're learning the game. If you're coaching an under-15 side, coach them. Yeah. Teach them how to play in the wind.
We're going to put that out as an audio link for anybody who's involved coaching-wise, and we're going to put it out diagrammatically for across our many, many social media platforms for coaches out there to access. What a fantastic resource to have at your